Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got a combo that one of you guys has requested for us to test on numerous occasions here recently. So I figured, hey, we'll bring it out here and try it and see what it can do. We've got a good gun and choke combo, but the shell I think is going to be the limiting factor for us today. These shells have been less than impressive across the board really. Maybe this might be the magical combination. It does have potential, but I have my doubts and my reservations about it until we actually put it on paper and see what it can do. I hope it proves me wrong, but we'll see what happens. But as for the shells we got today, I brought out some more of the Federal Grand Slam loads, but these ones are the 12 gauge, 3-inch, 1 3/4 ounce payload of 4s at about 1200 feet per second. If you've been around for some time now, you've seen a number of tests we've done with the Grand Slam lineup across the board. We've tried them in 12 gauge, 2 3/4 and 3-inch. We've tried them in 20 gauge as well, and they're usually underwhelming. They're typically always good enough to take turkeys out to 40 yards, but they're never the best thing on the shelf and really not even close to it. These do have the flight control flex wad in there, which I'm not a massive fan of. Myself anyway, I much prefer the regular square flapped original style flight control wad, but they are buffered and copper plated as well. So we stand an okay chance of getting a decent pattern if the shell does its job anyway. So we'll see how it performs through today's setup. As for the setup we're running, I brought out the Mossberg 835 Ulti-Mag. This one's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and here is the choke. One of you guys said run the Federal Grand Slam 4s through a Truglo 670, and that's what we've got here. This is the Truglo SSX, which is their strut stopper Xtreme. It's a 670 constriction, so not overly tight for a turkey choke in general, but for an overboard 835 like this, the bore inside is 10 gauge spec, so having a 670 constriction at the end is quite a bit of choke right at the end of the barrel. Normal turkey chokes for this gun are 690, 695, so relative to bore diameter, this is a tight choke. It does have porting as well that may or may not play with the flight control wad. This is one of those combos where we're just going to have to run it and see what happens. As for our test today, we got everything set up the same as usual. I got the turkey target set up at 40 yards and the chrono to get our velocity. So let's get you guys a view of that target. We'll take our shot and we'll see if the 3-inch Grand Slam 4s can actually perform through the 835 with that Truglo SSX. I have reservations, like I said a minute ago, coming into it, but let's see if it actually proves me wrong or not. Alright, that shell gave us 1268 through the chrono. Boss claim is 1200. These usually run a little over that 1200 claim from my experience. So nothing out of the normal here. That's more than enough velocity for these shells. And I think we actually quite literally killed our turkey down there. We folded the entire pallet. I think that's the first time that has happened in our turkey testing. So let me go set that pallet back up and we'll see how our results actually look. Okay, here we are down at our 40-yard paper, and we actually see some okay results down here. Just off the bat, this is definitely not the worst we've seen out of a Grand Slam shell. Is it anything over the top phenomenal? No, but it is a decent turkey pattern that would certainly be adequate enough out to 40 yards to do the job. Now, do we have a dead bird? Yes, indeed we do. There's 2 of them through the bottom of the brain there and several more down towards the bottom of the spine. There's nowhere on that target he could move to and get through that pattern, so it is absolutely 40-yard capable, but you can see our pattern might be a little on the splotchy side. I think our core is kind of just to the right of where that bird's beard is printed on the target. There's a little string of hotter shot right there, but you can also see bottom left corner of that target, there's a decent void there. Top left corner up there, there's another decent void. There's a thin spot behind his head, and the farther we get to the edges, there's a big flyer up there, a little bit more stringy stuff along there, a bunch of stuff down towards the bottom of the paper all along the bottom edge, and that continues over here off the left as well. Bunch of pellets strung out, so it's not an overly even spread, little blotchy throughout it, but we have certainly seen worse out of these shells for sure. If this is the combo that I had or was handed, sure, I would absolutely run it out to 40 yards. But we still have the factor of these being about 15 bucks a box. And when you can go to the store and look on the shelf and see these shells sitting right next to a Winchester Super X box, that's $11.99 a box. They are still going to way outshoot what these Federals did right here. And if you want to run a lead load for turkeys, why not go a little more expensive and get a Winchester Longbeard XR? I'm not not affiliated with Winchester in any way, shape, or form, but still, they've got the best turkey shells on the shelf, hands down. But for a Grand Slam shell, this is not terrible. It would certainly work. So now that we've got an idea of what it looks like with the target up there, let's pull it down. I'll finish drawing our circles and counting pellets, and we'll see exactly how this pattern looks, because it may or may not look a little bit better or worse, depending on what we see with the target down out of the way. Okay, now we've got the turkey target out of our way, and we can see that this pattern is about how I thought it looked. It is definitely a perfectly adequate pattern, but numbers confirm that it is definitely nothing special either. We have a 10 and 20 inch circle drawn here. Within our 10 inch core, we have 67 pellets. You can see that we have a little hotter spot at the bottom of our 10 inch core and the top left corner of our 10 inch core, and the rest across the middle and the top right is a little thinner. Usually with a lead turkey load, I like to see 100 pellets in the core. With them being a number 4 shot, you can reduce that a little bit, say 80 to 90 pellets or so. So we're not far off, but just not quite there either. Now backing up within our 20 inch leeway circle, we pick up an additional 90 pellets there. There's a little hotter zone at the top left there with a little thinner zone at the bottom left, and the same kind of trend continues. A little hot spot, then thin spot, and hot spot and thin spot around the rest of it. Not overly even throughout the entire thing. With us gaining those extra 90 pellets, usually, again, lead load, I like to see 150 in the 20 inch, with them being a 4 shot and having less pellets in the entire shell, say 125, maybe 130 or so. So again, we're not terribly far off, but just not quite there where I would personally like it to be. Now, obviously, this is not a terrible pattern for a federal Grand Slam shell. That's probably one of the better results we've gotten across the board with any of them so far. So for what it is, it didn't do terribly bad for us today. But you can also see we scattered a fair share of stuff around the edges as well. A lot of little stringy bits flung kind of all over to the edges of the paper, all the way from the top to the bottom there as well. So just continuing that it's not a super even spread of pellets throughout the entire thing. So overall thoughts today, it's fine. It's nothing great. It's nothing terrible. It would certainly do the job if this is what you had or what you were able to run or wanted to run. But I still would not call this combo better than anything else would do. If you ran a Remington load through that same combo, they would probably do the same or maybe a little better. And if you ran a Winchester shell through that same combo, they would definitely do better than this. So again, somewhere kind of perfectly mediocre when it comes to the Grand Slam shells. Not really too surprising, and numbers wise, that's probably pretty realistic for what I personally expected to see. And here's that Flight Control Flex Wad out of that shell. The Flex Wads are the ones that have the slots cut in the side versus the standard original style Flight Control having the square flaps. I'm not a big fan of the Flex Wad personally. They've never really impressed me. Just like we saw here on the paper, it usually makes for a good enough load, but nothing overly special to write home about. This one looks very much typical, no major damage, nothing stuck in there, and it's about exactly what I expected to see out of it overall. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that result right there? I think we covered it. It's a perfectly fine result, but it's nothing special. It's nothing that I'm gonna go out of my way and tell everybody, hey, you need to run this combo. I'm not gonna go out of my way to buy this combo off the store shelf all the time either. But if it's what you had or wanted to run, sure, you would be perfectly fine at taking turkeys out to 40 yards or so with it. But it's also a little bit more on the broad side, not as many pellets right through our core or hunting area in the circles here. It gets a little splotchy. You throw a bunch of stringy stuff around the edges as well. So not a phenomenal pattern, but it's not terrible either. That is probably one of the better numbers-wise results that we've gotten out of a Grand Slam shell so far. It's not really saying a whole lot, considering most of everything else on the same store shelf can beat that out pretty easily, but to each their own. If this is the shell and combo you want to run, sure, run it. You'll be just fine, but you probably won't have the best pattern in the woods either. Although if it's taking turkeys out to 40 yards or so, it's going to do the job either way you look at it. But as far as me, probably still not a combo I would ideally run myself. There's just better options out there for my taste anyway. But let me know all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of the Grand Slam loads? And if so, what kind of results have you been getting out of them? Is this a pattern or a combo you would actually hunt with? Or are you kind of like me where, yeah, you would run it and be just fine with it, but it wouldn't be your first most ideal choice either. And maybe what other combos do you want to see us run when it comes to either those Grand Slam 4s or the 835 with that Truglo 670 SSX choke? Let me know what you guys might want to see down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it. But I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.